Hi, I'm Ryan and welcome to my schizophrenia channel. Today I want to talk about poverty of speech. Since I started running groups at work in 2013 and excluding a support group I ran for a few years that I didn't have any trouble with, I've noticed that at times I lose my focus and become derailed when I'm trying to speak. When I talk to my supervisor about it, I always chalked it up to the chronic fatigue syndrome I'd had since 2012. In addition to feeling tired and falling asleep at inappropriate times, it seemed like I also had a head cold or a generally foggy head. Recently, I've wondered if my experiences were due to schizophrenia and poverty of speech. Poverty of speech, technically known as alogia, is a negative symptom characterized by short responses with little elaboration. Negative symptoms are something taken away from the personality, like motivation or the ability to speak, while positive symptoms are something added to the personality, like delusions or hallucinations. Poverty of speech can happen in schizophrenia, and it can also sometimes happen with people who have major depressive disorder. Typical poverty of speech happens when someone asks you questions and you respond with single one-word answers, like, how you doing today? Good. What do you think? Do you think the Giants are going to win tonight? No. Are you going to watch the game? Yes. Just short responses like that. Chronic fatigue syndrome, in addition to tiredness, cough, and sore throat, can also be related to concentration issues. There's no test for chronic fatigue syndrome. Diagnosis can only be made after ruling out other medical conditions. I've been tested for Lyme disease, HIV, swollen lymph nodes, sleep apnea, allergies like mold and dander, and I've had a camera sent down my throat. One day in 2012, after I came in contact with a group of foreigners at work, I got sick. A couple days later, thinking how unusual it was for me to be sick for 3 days, I went to my doctor, who told me it was probably just a common cold. A couple weeks later, I went back still sick, and I got a prescription for an antibiotic for bronchitis. And so I took that for about 2 weeks and I felt better, but once the prescription ran out, I felt the same as I felt before. My doctor said as a result of this, he said it's probably a viral infection and there was little he could do. So is it chronic fatigue or is it poverty of speech? At this point, I don't know. Since day one of having chronic fatigue syndrome, I've had like kind of a foggy head. So I'm leaning toward that. But it's also a possibility that it can be poverty of speech, especially considering when I lose my focus. It's usually a focus on one particular word that I forget, and then I'll say and then what I'm saying, then I completely derail and I can't remember anything I'm saying. For me, this is tolerable if I'm speaking one-to-one with somebody, but it's a huge burden if I'm leading a group and can cause other problems like losing momentum. My social worker suggested that I write down each time I lose my concentration so we can address each time specifically. I've also started seeing a new primary care physician who already told me I fit the criteria for chronic fatigue syndrome. There's no treatment for chronic fatigue syndrome except exercise and possibly taking a stimulant. I want to stay away from as many prescription drugs as possible, so I'm hoping just by exercise, someday I'll get better. So that's the end of today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'm Ryan, and thanks for watching.